Well, hello there and good day. Welcome back to the channel. And today I have decided I want to show off, and I'm surprised I haven't done this yet because these are actually very, very special to me. I want to show off some of my vintage Matchbox castings I have. And every one of these castings is actually from the 1970s. So this is, these are all cars I had like in early childhood or maybe even wanted in early childhood but never got them. But Matchboxes were always one of my favorites as a kid growing up, and I know for a lot of you Gen X kids, it was probably the same as well. And I think I got about 8 or 9 cars up here I want to show you. I got a lot of these, so we'll just do a small group at a time, show them off, and kind of go over what they are. All right, so let's start with this beautiful blue Firebird we have on the turntable here. So this is I guess it'd be about a 1974 Firebird. Would have been considered probably either an Esprit, probably not a Formula because there's no graphics on it. But one of the things I love about this car is that it's basically the blue version of the one that Jimmy Garner drove on the Rockford Files, that very popular 1974 through 1979 television private detective series. And I remember getting this car for Christmas time one year, and man, I just loved it. I got this car and also the red Challenger the same year for Christmas, and boy, did I play with them until basically the paint fell off. But let me show you this. This has a issue date of 1975. It's in the Superfast series. This one doesn't have any opening features, but it's just a very well done model. Love how they did just everything on it. The chromed out interior with the amber colored windows to make it appear like it's tan. The chrome scoops. They did a fantastic job with the twin cavity grille on the front there, the headlights. Everything is just so nicely replicated. The only thing that might be a bit off is the fender flares. They're a little fat, but it's just a good look. I mean, and I love the color blue that they did this in. They replicated everything. The little defroster intake vents are on the hood there. Little vanes on the taillights. Little door handle right there. Now, in later years, Matchbox kind of cheated and copped out a little bit because what they did was they made a 1979-1980 version of one of these, and they did the front end pretty good, okay, but they kept everything else the same, okay, and they put a full width tail lamp on it. But see, the part that was incorrect would have been this pillar area here, because 1974 would have been the last year that they had that flat rear window and the wide pillar. In 1975, they went to the wraparound window, and this pillar got narrowed by quite a bit. And Matchbox did not replicate that. And I think to myself, hey, you cheaters. You took the same old casting from the early part of the 70s and just reused it for the 80s. On that particular version. They did a lot of versions of that one too. There was ones with the T-top cut into it. There was a gold version, white version. I had pretty much all of them too. But this here by far is the best version from 1975. That's just a beauty. Let's take a look at another one of my very personal favorites. Oh, man. How many of you guys remember that one, huh? You know what? I remembered something too. Let me bring it up here. Just go ahead and admire that. That's a 1977 Mercury Cougar Villager Wagon. And it's got an issue date of 1978. Now what's interesting about the Villager Wagon, also the companion LTD2 wagon, is that they were offered only for the 1977 model year. They discontinued the intermediate wagon after that. So this is a one-year wonder. And I love the fact that Matchbox took the time to replicate it. In fact, you're going to see, as I show you some other vintage Matchboxes, you're going to find out that Matchbox must have had an affinity for Mercury wagons, because they made Mercury wagons in 3 different generations. There's an earlier, like 1968, like Park Lane style that I have. And I also have a replica of a 1987 Mercury Sable wagon as well. So Matchbox had a thing for Mercury wagons. I remember when I first got this car as a kid, and man, I loved it. Just loved everything about it. The little flip down tailgate, you can't go wrong with that. the color, just the way they styled it. I mean, they replicated this thing just so nicely. You know, you got your fuel door right there, the door handles, even the little door lock, the sheet metal creases on the hood there. Got that familiar Ford front end that they were very famous for, that kind of gothic look, you know, where you got the recessed headlights, the prominent grille, and then the protruding fender corners. That was their notorious look that they had for pretty much the entire decade of the 70s. Yeah, even in the 80s, they carried that look over. There you go, Cougar Villager. So I have another version of the Cougar Villager that I'll show you. You've seen it briefly in another video. Look at that. Now, that is not original. That has been restored by me. This one came to me. It was in a blister pack. When I opened it up, I could not believe the paint bubbling and defects. It was horrible. So I said to myself, okay, I've already got another one. So how about if I just restore that one? So I did. Stripped all the paint off and decided to refinish it in a lovely, kind of like a ruby red. And tailgate still drops down. It's a little stiffer though, because you got the paint on there. Kept the interior original, but redid the entire paint. And I thought it came out pretty good. Does unfortunately ruin the originality. I mean, let's face it, the green one is still the best. But I did want to show you the restored version because, you know, I was trying to rescue it. I didn't want it to be, you know, looking the way it was. Let's take a look at another nice car here. How about the Challenger? Here we go. This is a release from 1975. This is probably about a 73 or 74 Dodge Challenger. This one, they chromed out the interior, but they left it with clear windows. Love the scoops. How they did that. They replicated even so much as the Dodge script right there. The Dodge script is on the back here. How you can tell it's a 73 or 74 is by the front end, by the shape of the grille and the headlamp design. I like how they did the separate textured roof to give it like a vinyl top appearance. And you know, you've already seen the Lincoln Mark V I have. It's almost the same color scheme, bright red with the white top. You've already seen that in the previous video. But I got this the same Christmas I got the blue Firebird. It's one of my favorites. And then we've got the either a Boss Mustang or a Mustang Mach 1, depending on what you know, version you like best. It's got a crazy injector stack engine set up in there. So I think, I don't know, I'm trying to remember which ones had the blacked out hood. I want to say it was the Boss. So this is probably more accurate as a Boss Mustang because they had the blacked out hood. It's probably about a 71 or 72 style based upon the front end. You'll see how the turn signals, they're horizontal, not vertical like they were in 73. This car was not in a blister pack. This was actually loose. This is very well preserved. It's got one paint defect, one paint blemish right here on the spoiler. There's a nick. But other than that, it's actually in very good shape. Like the matte black hood. Just like the blue Firebird, it's got that you know, chromed out interior with the amber colored windows, which I always think is a nice touch. I mean, they replicated everything so nice on that. It's got little side pipes too, which I think is cool. That's just one of my other favorites. I just have lots and lots of favorites. I just love vintage Matchboxes from childhood. They're just the greatest. Let's take a look at one of two sets of identical twins I have. Well, I will say virtually identical twins. All right, so this is a... When we had this car in America, it was called a Mercury Capri. Over in Europe, it's basically called a Ford Capri. It's in essence the same car. It's just sold under the Ford nameplate over there, whereas here we sold it under the Mercury nameplate. I don't think in Europe they had the V6 version. I don't remember that, but I know here in America we had the V6 version as an option. This is about a, what, 71, 72 model. I had the kind of magenta pink one as a very little kid. I remember it vividly. I love that little car. I never had the orange one as a kid, but I wanted it, and now I've got it as a grown adult to just enjoy in my collection. Both have the opening hoods. Both depict the 4-cylinder engine. You can tell by the offset air cleaner in there. Another thing I like about these is now these have an earlier version of the Superfast wheels. That's another way you can tell it's kind of an early 70s car. Yeah, you see it's got a issue date of 1970. Bright orange. I'll show you the engine real quick there. You can see, yeah, see it's got the little offset air cleaner. That's definitely a little 4-cylinder. They would have had the Euro lights, the composite lights, which at this point were actually illegal in America. And then you got the lovely magenta pink one. That is my just most favorite because I had it as a kid. See right there, they put Ford. That always impressed me, even with their 1970s tooling technology, that they were able to replicate that kind of stuff. The trailer hitch is a bit of a stretch. I don't know if you'd want to try to pull a trailer with a 4-cylinder Capri. Might be straining it just a little bit. I always loved the very colorful colors that Matchbox came up with. Let's take a look at another set of twins. This one's about the same pink as that Capri. And we have its virtual twin in blue. So this is a, I'd say about a mid-70s Datsun 260Z. And this would be the 2+2 model. It's got I call it an emergency use only back seat. The reason I say that is because, yes, it's got a rear seat, but I don't think you'd want to have anybody back there for any length of time. They'd probably protest. Probably little kids are more suited to go back there than grown adults. But this was Datsun's way to make the Z car appeal to a broader market. But, you know, they didn't really sell that many. I don't remember seeing very many 2+2s around, not even to this day, now that they're, you know, a huge collector's item. But you know, as is always with Matchbox, they've got the greatest details, doors that open and close so smoothly and perfectly. This has a black base. Looks like it says about 19. I can't tell if that says 78 or 76. Hard to tell. My eyes are just not good anymore like they used to be. Once again, the trailer hitch is a bit of a stretch. It's kind of funny. And the beautiful blue version, which is just, blue has always been one of my most favorite colors. Taillight detail is very nice. Wow, look at that. They even took the time to replicate the armrest and the door pull in there. That is pretty cool. I guess I never even took a close look at that before. You'll notice it's depicted as a right-hand drive, which means it was definitely a Euro market model. Yeah, that's a very nice one. Z-Car 260 2+2. Like I said, emergency use only rear seat on that one. All right, let's take a look at this one. This one, man, did I have a hard time finding this. Oh my gosh. When people are trying to sell this one, they want so much money for it, it's almost stupid. So how I got this one was this truck. The truck itself was mint condition, but the package was destroyed. It looked like it had been in a flood. And so because of that, I got it for a good price. Now, this little 1968, 1969 Ford F100 pickup is in what's called the Rolamatics series. And what that means is they have some kind of movable feature that activates when you roll the car across a surface. So in this case, what happens is, I don't know if I can even demonstrate it, because if you notice how, you see how the lion is moving around back there? So there are little teeth on that turntable in the bed. And then on each wheel is like a little tab. And every time the wheel rotates around, it engages with the teeth on the turntable and makes that little lion go around. And, you know, this little clear plastic cover is actually in very poor shape. It barely even holds on there. You can see how, you know, the little lion moves around. There's no interior in this. They just have the darked out windows. But there are some other nice details. Like they did the lettering on the tailgate very nicely. This is an earlier version, you know, Matchbox, because you can tell by the wheel style. You can see right there it says Rolamatics. You'll notice the chassis is a little discolored. And also so is the front end. That's probably because of, like I said, it got wet. They did a nice job replicating the grille, the headlamp bezels, turn signal lenses all look pretty good. But like I said, you can see it's a little discolored because I think the package got wet, and that's why it was in such poor condition. And I think this came out sometime in, I don't know what year this came out in. I can't even read the base. The base is actually in such poor condition. But this is one of two versions they had of this. They also had another version where it was painted with zebra stripes. And yeah, I mean, everybody I looked at on this truck on eBay, they wanted stupid money for it. So this one was actually a steal because of the fact that I got it in a basically destroyed package. And it's almost perfect. I mean, there's a little blemish on the roof there. And this, like I said, the little clear shell is very, 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 very poor condition. It's just, I don't know if maybe it's just warped from age or what the case is, but it doesn't fit on it doesn't fit on there very well. But there we have it. I want you guys to take a look at some vintage Matchboxes from the 1970s. This is going to the way back machine, the childhood with this ones, with these guys. All right, Diecast fans, hope you enjoyed that little presentation. I really get a kick out of doing these videos. Just really enjoy showing the collection off to you, showing you the features, all these different models I got. And just stick around because I got a lot more content coming at you. All right. In the meantime, enjoy yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.